Barakatuh. Sheikh Abdul Rashid. Welcome, welcome. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد عن أبي ذر رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنكم لا ترجعون إلى الله بشيء أفضل مما خرج منه يعني القرآن رواه الحاكم. Hazrat Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "You cannot turn to Allah and gain nearness to Him with anything superior to that which came from Him," meaning the Noble Quran. Hazrat Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "You cannot turn to Allah and gain nearness to Him with anything superior to that which came from Him." That is the Noble Quran. It is evident from numerous ahadith that there is no better means of seeking nearness to Allah than recitation of the Quran. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullah alayhi says, "I saw Almighty Allah in a dream and asked Him what was the best means for seeking nearness to His presence. Allah said, 'O Ahmad, it is my word, that is the Quran.' I inquired whether it is only reading while understanding the meaning or reading without understanding. He said, whether by understanding the meaning or without understanding, it is a means of nearness either way." Ji. No. Does he know how Allah Ta'ala looks? No, obviously he does not. That is something that no one is capable of seeing. So it is something from him, that he imagined, or from which he was able to understand that this is Allah. But did he see Allah? No. It is impossible for anyone to see Allah. It is impossible for anyone to encompass Him. Ji, that Khadija adds to the commentary. Sheikha Khadija Damat Barakatuha mentions that we will be able to see Allah in Jannah, and this is correct. This will actually be, amongst the best things that a person experiences in Jannah when he gets to see Allah. That will be amongst the greatest blessings of Jannah. As for what a person sees in this world, well, he will not see Allah in this world. He will see Allah through his signs, but will he see Allah in himself? No, he is unable to do that. And when someone thinks that he saw him, and it will be something through which he would understand. But then again, this does not establish Sharia as such, but this was something that he mentions of his dreams. Only the dreams of the prophets are considered haqq, are considered the truth. No matter what, they're always true, the dreams of the prophets. And anyone else's dreams, there's up to discussion. It could be something that he was thinking about. It can be something that there is part of it which Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions in one hadith that 146th of nubuwwat are the true dreams, of prophethood are the true dreams. But it does not mean that a person becomes a prophet. No. But sometimes his dreams will manifest. They will become, he will end up seeing what he saw in his dream. Gee. So Yusuf asks that, is it true that if you tell one of your bad dreams, then it will happen? It's not necessary that it will definitely happen, but Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned that we should not tell our bad dreams, our nightmares to anyone, because that is one of the possible things that will happen. अच्छा खदीजा, अब पति थोड़ा सा पढ़ेंगे. अच्छा. So that reading the Quran is the best means of getting access to Almighty Allah is explained in the commentary of Mawlana Shah Abdul Aziz Dahlawi rahmatullah alayhi, who is an authority for posterity. Its substance is that Suluk ila Allah, the path of mystics towards Allah, which is also called the stages of Ihsan, can be attained in three ways. Tasawwur, known as meditation in Sharia, and Muraqabah in the terminology of the Sufis. Dhikr, which is remembrance of Allah by repeating words of praise for Him. And third, reading of the Quran. Since the first method is remembrance in the heart, there remains in fact two ways only: remembrance by heart or by word of mouth, and secondly, recitation of the Quran. The essence of dhikr is that the word which is used for or refers to Almighty Allah should be repeated over and over again. This repetition helps the mudraka, the faculty of understanding, in concentrating upon the person of the one being remembered. It would give rise to a feeling of immediate presence of that being. Constancy in this state is called ma'iyat, meaning togetherness, which is referred to in the hadith below. لا يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحببته فكنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها. So it's part of a longer hadith, which we probably have read before. And it goes in the meaning that my servant gets my nearness through nafl, ibadah, until I make him my favorite. And thus I become his ears wherewith he hears, his eyes wherewith he sees, his hands wherewith he holds, and his feet wherewith he walks. It means that when a person through excessive devotion becomes a favorite of Allah, Allah becomes a guardian of all the limbs of his body so that his eyes, ears, etc. all submit to his will. This blessing is said to be the result of constancy in nafl salat, because fard, obligatory salat, are specified and do not admit of excess, while nearness and close attachment demand constancy and concentration as mentioned above. But this mode of seeking nearness is exclusive for that pure and beloved being, and it is impossible to seek nearness to anybody else by remembering his name over and over again. So talking about doing dhikr, we cannot talk about someone and they are ignorant of it. That will not bring nearness to them. But when we do this with Allah, then it brings nearness to him. This is because the one in whose nearness is being sought must have two attributes. First, he should be omniscient, meaning he should know everything, so that he comprehends the dhikr of all the dhakirin, whether by word of mouth or by heart, irrespective of language and time. Secondly, he should have the power to illuminate the understanding and fulfill the yearning of the one who remembers, which is known as dunu, and meaning nearness, tadalli, proximity, and nuzul, descent, and qurb, nearness. Since these two prerequisites are possessed only by Allah, the above mentioned method of seeking nearness is effective only in respect to him. The following hadith, Qudsi, a revelation of Allah, quoted by Rasulullah ﷺ, points to this fact. من تقرب إلي شبرا تقربت إليه ذراعا. Whoever comes near to me by one span, I go near to him by an arm's length. Whoever comes near me by one arm's length, I go near him by one ba', stretch of both arms. Whoever comes to me walking, I go towards him running. This similitude is only for illustration. Otherwise, Allah is above walking and running. It only means that those who remember and seek Him are helped and looked after by Almighty Allah in a measure far in excess of their own urge and efforts. This is so because it behoves His benevolence. So the steadfastness of those who remember Him invokes constant attention and results in the descent of favors of Almighty Allah, the Pure. The Quran altogether is dhikr of Allah, in the sense that no ayah of the Quran is devoid of remembrance and attention towards Allah, and as such it bears characteristics of dhikr as mentioned above. There is, however, another distinction of the Quran which is the cause of increased nearness to Allah, and it is this, that every discourse carries the qualities and influencing traits of the speaker. It is obvious as the recitation of the poetry of sinful and wicked people has its evil effects, while the verses of righteous people exercise a noble influence. G.
What is poetry?
Poetry means poems.
What does noble instruments mean?
What does what? Noble influence? Noble influence means that it causes a good influence on you. No, I said noble influence. Achha. It is for this reason that excessive study of knowledge of logic and philosophy produces pride and conceit, while excessive devotion to the study of hadith leads to humility. Although as languages, both English and Persian are equal, they produce varying influences upon the readers due to the divergence in the beliefs and attitudes of the various authors. It can be concluded that repeated recitation of the Quran will result in the reader being influenced by the qualities of the originator of the verses and in developing a natural affinity for them. Moreover, if a person is devoted to the publication of an author, he naturally starts liking and favoring that person. In the same way, the reader of the Quran is sure to win Allah's abundant grace, which in turn promotes nearness to Him. May Allah bless us all with His favors. A couple of years back, there came a question, or we were thinking what to do. Of course, in our madrasa, we generally keep maktab going even during Ramadan. So the question arose that what are we going to do with the kids when iftar time is right around, or it's very close to, um, it was still within class time, actually. So the teacher was discussing, and he was wondering that should we give them a break to make a dua, or should we keep them on their Quran? And through a hadith like this, that Allah gives more to them than He gives to those who beg His favors, we came to conclusion that let's keep them reading their Quran. If they were not reading their Quran, then of course we would involve them in dua, because that's also one of the things that is very much emphasized during this time, that the dua of the fasting person is accepted until he breaks his fast. But when someone is already devoted to the Quran during that time, then I did not feel it right to pull them away from the Quran, at a time when they were already devoted to it. Of course, if they're free, then we would tell them to make dua. Anyways, it's not hard and fast, but that was our decision. That was our thought process in making that decision. عن أنس رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن لله أهلين من الناس قالوا من هم يا رسول الله قال أهل الله أهل القرآن هم أهل الله وخاصته رواه النسائي. Hazrat Anas radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, for Allah, from amongst the people there are some who are of His household. Sahaba radiallahu anhum asked, who are those people? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam replied, men of the Quran. They are of the household of Allah and are His favorite ones. Hazrat Anas radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, for Allah, from amongst the people there are some who are of His household. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum asked, who are those people? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam replied, men of the Quran. They are of the household of Allah and are His favorite ones. Men of the Quran are those who always remain occupied with the Quran and have a special attachment to it. That such people are of the household of Allah and His favorites is evident. It is therefore clear from the foregoing that as long as such people remain occupied with the Quran, special favors of Almighty Allah continue to be conferred upon them. Certainly those who live in constant company do become as of one of the household. What a great honor is it to belong to His household, to be reckoned amongst the men of Allah, and to become His favorites. With such little striving and endeavor. What sacrifices of comfort and money are not made by people for admittance to worldly courts or to be elected as members of an assembly. They flatter the voters and bear all sorts of humiliation, yet consider all this worthwhile. But the endeavor for the Quran is considered as a waste of time and energy. May Allah give us tawfiq to understand. Inshallah, we're also amongst the second 10 days of the month of Ramadan, and these are the days of the days of forgiveness. أوله رحمة, then أوسطه مغفرة, and آخره عتق من النار. So the first 10 days was the special mercy of Allah. Second 10 days are the days of forgiveness. Last 10 days are the days of emancipation from the fire of hell. May Allah give us tawfiq to seek His forgiveness during these blessed days. And if we are making a mistake, that's not a problem. The problem is that we remain firm on our mistakes. That is the problem. If a person makes a mistake, admit it. Admit the mistake. What I did was wrong. There are all sorts of mistakes that we could be making. Mistakes of our eyes, mistakes of our ears, mistakes of our hands, mistakes with our money, mistakes with, all sorts of things. So we should never justify that, that's what it is. That I'm doing it and it's okay. If it's a mistake, if it's against the commandments of Allah, it's not okay. Or it's not acceptable. But Allah is ready to forgive. So let us not get deceived that, this is who I am. No, we are not defined by our mistakes. We are not defined by our mistakes. We are defined by our deen. This is who we are. This is what Allah wants from us. And then we make istighfar. We ask Allah for forgiveness. We ask Him for help to be firm on staying away from these mistakes. So inshallah, we should look into our lives, see where we are lacking. There are many aspects which we need to correct. It's not just one. So inshallah, we try to correct them all, inshallah. Allah give us tawfiq to correct these mistakes and to gain His forgiveness. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallah bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana